Do you feel like the alt kids would also enjoy some of the stuff that you make?
I think they would.
Yeah.
Just because of like how different it is. I make music for all the people who feel like they're ostracized and that they're like different from people. If someone like me can make music like that and make it good, I hope that's like inspiration for someone who doesn't believe in themselves.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's Nasipi Zwane, and I'm back with another episode of Sludge Underground Podcast. This week, I've got a really wholesome artist for you, as I do every single week. Please let the audience know who you are, bro, where you're from, and we can basically just get the show going from there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Swoger. I'm an artist based in Durban. I make hyperpop, and yeah, that's the gist of it.
I love what you said there about making hyperpop. You know, that's a genre that I'm not really familiar with. So if you could just let the audience know what hyperpop is and why you sort of chose to sort of dive into it, considering that, you know, it's not really in our faces as much as the South African sort of audience.
So basically, hyperpop is a genre that was, I guess you could say, pioneered by 100 Gex. The staple of the genre is like auto-tuned, distorted vocals.
What sort of drove you to that sound? Because as I said, you know, a lot of these hip-hop artists or people that sort of, you know, do something that is similar would opt, you know, we're seeing a lot of them branch off to like amapiano. We're seeing a lot of them, you know, sort of branch off to different genres, not hyperpop specifically.
Okay, so I've been making music since I was a very young kid. And it started off with just me like fooling around on my brother's computer because he had FL on it, and I would like try to make instrumentals and whatnot. Eventually got to a point where when I reached high school in the 8th grade, I was like, okay, I want to make hip hop. And I did that for a while, and I was all right at it. I wasn't really that good. But I noticed that like I had a knack for like over-engineering vocals and like mixing them in like unconventional ways and whatnot, and pushing the, I guess, like sound. But I noticed that like the people who listen to hip-hop and whatnot, they mainly focus on like your delivery and like the lyrics, and they're not really into like the audio side of things. A while back, I think it was 2020, I went down the whole rabbit hole of like hyperpop and how it was like a recent genre emerging in the US, and I was like, oh damn, I really like this. Let me just like make a hyperpop song as a joke. And it turned out really well. It was a song about 2D anime girls. The main reason why I pivoted from hip hop to making hyperpop is that when I was making hip hop, I didn't really feel like I belonged to that genre. Most of the time I was like rapping about stuff that wasn't me, you know, like money and girls, but that's not me. I'm just like an awkward guy who likes making music in his bedroom. And I figured that like I could portray myself that way with hyperpop.
How's the reach been for you when it comes to hyperpop? You know, have people been responding well to the sound?
That's actually an interesting question. At first, people don't really understand it, if I'm being honest. But I guess like the type of attitude that I have when I speak to people and whatnot, they get interested in the genre, and they I guess they start listening to it. Because even with like my old group of friends that I grew up with and was making hip hop with, when I made the transition from hip hop to hyperpop, they didn't really understand it. But eventually I got almost all of them to start listening to hyperpop.
Lovely, yeah.
I'm pretty proud of myself for that. The reach has been, it's actually been going pretty good compared to like the numbers I used to get when I made hip hop to like now. I've gotten a lot more streams and a lot more views on my recent stuff.
One of the things that actually got me excited to actually do this interview with you was the link that you sent me for a music video that you actually have. It's one of the most interesting music videos that I've seen, and I literally thought you were from maybe Joburg or Cape Town when I saw that. So I was surprised when you were like, I'm in Durban. I'm like, what? You know, it's one of the cleanest sort of pieces or music videos I've seen locally. So who did you team up with for that music video, and what is it about?
Oh, okay. So my recent songs, including the music video, were basically like conceptualized around serial Experiments Lain. I do this thing where like when I make music, I like to take themes from like things that I just like in general and try to incorporate it into the music. So with like Avant-Garde and Excella, both of those songs are conceptualized serial Experiments Lain. Excella is more so like there's a drug that one of the characters takes in the second episode, where like it slows them down and whatnot.
Okay.
And I wanted my song to sound like what it would be like to be on that drug. And then with Avant-Garde, it has like elements and themes from Serial Experiments Lain, like sounds and whatnot, and
Yeah.
even like the feeling of it. I wanted my emotions to be displayed through the track. So that's why like the 808s are like very hard hitting and whatnot. I wanted the listener to somewhat peek into my brain and like what's going on in
Yeah.
that moment, because like it was a song about me breaking up with my ex, and it was a very toxic relationship.
Yeah.
And it's not supposed, it's supposed to be pleasing to the ears, but also it has like this harshness to it because of like the
Yes.
distorted 808s and whatnot, and like my high-pitched vocals. At the beginning of the year, I made the song, and
Yeah.
I think I made it like within a night, and I knew that the song was special.
Yeah.
And when I released it, I wanted it to be like something big. I couldn't just like release it without any, like promo. And then earlier this year, I went to Joburg for a programming boot camp type thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And I met the person who filmed the music video there.
What?
Kumbuza.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't even know that he was a videographer. Near
Yeah.
the end of my programming boot camp, he pulled up with his camera, and I was like, oh my God, this looks so clean. And literally right then and there in my mind, I was like, I have to get a music video with this guy, because
Yeah.
like, what he showed me and like the things that he filmed looked really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that like, he was able to help me with that.
What is your view on, the current state of, hip hop in Durban? Where would you say it is right now, and how do you sort of feel about it?
I feel like there's a lot of gatekeeping going on with like the artists here in Durban. If one artist has an opportunity and they're like friends with other artists, they won't like necessarily go out of their way to help the other artists. They'd
Yeah.
rather just like reap the benefits for themselves, which is like something that I'm not really big on, because I like having a sense of community
For sure,
and
bro.
whatnot. And even with like the music video and just like meeting people who like help me with stuff and whatnot, even with like the genre that I make, it's like a genre for chronically online kids who are like awkward,
Yes.
like me and whatnot.
Yeah.
And through the music that I make, I made a Discord server that has a bunch of other South African artists
Yeah.
that also make like weird alternative music, and we all just like vibe with each other. The current state of hip hop, like the music itself,
Yes.
is good,
Okay.
but the mindset that people have when it comes to the music with egos and pride and whatnot,
Yeah.
I'm not really like a fan of that.
Your music video is literally, it's over 1,000 now on YouTube, right? I mean,
Yeah.
probably close to 2K if I'm not mistaken. How do you go about making sure that a music video gets really good numbers on YouTube? Because yours has done it.
A lot of playlist pitching,
Okay.
a lot, and also just having artist friends that are gonna support you, because like I feel like support in like the music industry is a
Yeah.
very important thing.
Yes.
And that's not to say that like, oh, all of these artists should only support me. Whenever I do get a chance, which I'm always doing it, I always support other artists, because I love music, and it's it's not like a thing where like I have to like prove myself, or it's mainly about the music, and I love listening to music, and regardless of who you are, if I think your music is good, I'm going to support you.
Do you feel like the alt kids would also enjoy some of the stuff that you make?
I think they would.
Yeah.
Just because of like how different it is. I make music for all the people who feel like they're ostracized and that they're like different from people and have always felt like losers. And by that, what I mean is, if someone like me can make music like that and make it good,
Yeah.
I hope that's like inspiration for someone who doesn't believe in themselves,
Yeah.
but wants to do the same thing. Can like look to it and be like, oh damn, if this awkward kid over here holding the mic right now can do that, maybe I can too.
Were you doing music while you were in high school?
Oh yeah.
And what was the reception like?
The reception was mixed. Near the end of high school, I did get a bit better,
Yeah.
but for a very long time in my life, I just sucked at making music, and I'm not gonna lie. And people will come up to you and tell you that you suck and whatnot. At the time, I guess I didn't really know how to take constructive criticism.
Yeah.
So I felt really bad about that. But it got to a point where I was like, I need to get better. And that's why, like, when I release music right now, it takes a while for me to release, because I scrutinize everything that I make, and I'm trying to like, make the best thing that I could possibly make, and
What is the live space like? Are you getting performances? Just paint a picture for me as to what that actually looks like in your world.
If I'm being honest, I don't really get booked for places to perform as an artist. And it's kind of disheartening because I do have friends who I've like grown up with that also made hip hop and are also like doing their own thing right now and
Yes.
like driving. And they get into spaces where they do get to perform and whatnot.
Yeah.
And well, you know, I've asked before, but you know, like I said before, the gatekeeping and whatnot,
Okay.
they don't really like, you know, want to like help other artists and
Yes.
whatnot.
Have you ever considered making your own shows at all? Like,
Oh yeah, we have.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we've done like 3 of our own shows around the area where I live.
what? Okay, how are those? How did you guys go about planning your own shows, and how did they go? How did they work out?
It was mainly my friends. They booked our like local hall and then went around promoting it everywhere. I even like created the poster and we printed them out and like put them everywhere and
Yeah.
whatnot. And it was kind of a success, I guess, for like, you know, just a bunch of kids doing whatever, you know. I don't really get booked for places here in Durban.
Yeah.
But earlier this year, I did get approached by Patrick Lee
What?
to perform at Joburg.
Shout out to Patrick Lee, man. What?
And at the time, I was like sort of working, so I like saved up money for like a bus ticket
Yeah.
to go to Joburg and perform at that show. And it was actually really cool because the people who listen to Patrick Lee, they're
Yes.
into hip hop, but also
Yeah.
they're pretty alt. Like even the way they
Yes.
dress, they have chokers
Yes.
and like crazy bracelets
Yeah.
and like punk pants and whatnot. It felt so weird being in a space like that because I've never seen so many alt people
Yeah.
in one area. And on top of that, they really like my music.
Who are some of your favorite artists right now?
Y'all had her before. Anouk is a really good artist. Jacobs is also another really good artist. Jaxobz.
Yeah.
He makes music similar to me,
Okay.
but he's trying to dive more into rock. He's actually the person that produced the instrumental for Avant-Garde, my
Shout
music
out,
video.
man. Yeah.
I'd also like to thank my manager, Torsten Detroit. I met him recently through my Discord server and
Nice.
he's been helping me out a bunch
Yeah.
with like music and whatnot. It's so weird like having people who like get streams and whatnot that
Yeah.
also like your music,
Yes.
because you get to a point where you start to realize that, you know, even artists who are like massive, who have millions and stuff like that, they're also normal people.
Yeah.
And it's just like the streams and views, the perception that we have of those.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, maybe I can't speak to this person and whatnot. Maybe they won't like me, this and that. But that's not the case at all.
How powerful would you say having a Discord server is?
That's an interesting question. I think it's pretty powerful because it gets the fans to get together and like discuss music. But I'm not sure if it's like, you know, the right way to go about doing things. The Discord server is important, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But we're just like mainly friends, like
Yeah.
chilling, watching movies, talking,
Yeah.
before like any of the music, and then the music comes afterwards. I think prioritizing like friendships and whatnot in the industry as opposed to like I don't know, I guess like the alternative
Yes.
is a lot healthier and better.
And for artists, what's the best sort of, you know, social media platform to push their stuff?
Promoting your music through Reels and TikTok and YouTube Shorts helps a lot.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
worked for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you just have to be like consistent with it, and eventually you'll get your breakthrough.
Just to close off, bro, you mentioned the gatekeeping in Durban and how things are. For someone who's starting out and is feeling a bit disheartened and, you know, has been on the receiving end of that gatekeeping and so on, what advice would you give them?
I suggest for them to like not get disheartened by it and just like proceed through their music career, moving forward with just love for like everyone. Just going out and like showing love for other artists and whatnot is a way better mentality to inhabit than like going around being like, this person doesn't want me to be there, and oh, this person didn't invite me to this, and because then you build a lot of resentment, and like that could like bite those artists back or bite you back, and it's
Yeah.
like, you know, I don't really think that's like healthy way to go about doing things. Just like proceed forward, try to be as happy as you can, and like just compare yourself to what you were like yesterday. Don't necessarily compare yourself to other people, because that's also another way in which you can get disheartened easily.
Sweet, bro. Any shout outs, anything you want to say to the people that are watching at home?
Hello everyone, I'm here.
Wait.
This is like my first time doing something like this.
Bro,
but
this is going to be so iconic. Like, if we were to look back, because the
Yeah.
blow up is coming. I know the blow up is coming because I saw the music video. It's going to be so iconic when the blow up does come in like a couple of months or like a couple of years. And you look back to that moment where you're like, hi guys, I'm here. And then next thing, it's like the craziest music video and you're like going on tour and it's just insane, bro. So I'm manifesting that shit for you. I really hope it works out.
Thank you. And I'm also very honored to be on this podcast. This is actually my first time doing something like this.
I'm
so
stoked, bro. I'm stoked this is your first time, and I am super, I'm glad that we had this conversation. I'm glad that we had you on the show, and I really hope that those that are watching at home also then jump onto your music, because it's absolutely brilliant. And for anyone who wants to get in touch with you online, what are the social media handles for them?
Swoger_G on Instagram and Twitter, and then just Swoger everywhere else. SWOGER. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, SoundCloud.
What does Swoger mean?
Okay, so Swoger doesn't necessarily mean anything. I started off with my name being Swagger with one G, so it was SWAGER.
Yeah.
And then I met some Russian dude online, and we were friends for a while.
Yeah.
And he couldn't pronounce my name properly. He pronounced it as Swoger instead of Swagger. And I was like, oh damn, that has a really good
That's
ring
fire.
to it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this my name. And also, like, the plus side is that when you like go on socials and whatnot, like, Swoger is a pretty rare name. So
It is.
when you search it up, most likely I'm the one that shows out.
Yes, for sure, bro. I did look it up, and it definitely, like, your YouTube video is one of the things that pops up first. I really love that name. Swoger is the name. Do remember it at home. For everything Sludge Underground, we've got our website, www.sludgeunderground.com. We are selling merch on our store, sludgeunderground.store as well, so do check that out. And it's been a really brilliant conversation with Swoger. I hope you learned a lot about him, and obviously that you do continue to follow his journey. And guys, that's pretty much going to be it for this week. If you want to find me online, it's at Zwane031 on all social media platforms. We're going to be back with a brand new guest for you next week, so do stay tuned. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave a comment, let us know what you think about Swoger and some of his stuff. I think it's appropriate that we play out with just a snippet of the music video that you were talking about, even though you have seen it earlier in the show, but we'd like to play out with it again just to reassert the fact that Swoger is a legend. So do keep a lookout, and we'll see you guys next time. It is bye for now.
Fuck up to my I drop when I want it, turn. I drop when I want okay. Tryna make 100K, okay, Fell in my heart, yeah, you fell with my heart, yeah, you fell with my heart.